Welcome to the iRogya Wellness Podcast, your quick guide to a healthier life. In each episode, we'll explore practical tips and insights to help you on your journey to optimal health and well-being. Let's dive in.
We've all been there, haven't we? You hear about some natural product, it sounds good, promises health benefits, and you just think, okay, but what's really going on, like inside my body?
Right. It's that desire to get past the buzzword.
Exactly. We want the nuts and bolts. And today, that's what we're aiming for with Tahitian Noni MAX.
Precisely. Many of you listening probably know about noni juice, maybe the general wellness ideas around it.
Yeah, it's been around.
But this deep dive, our mission really is different. We want to explore the science, the thinking behind how Tahitian Noni MAX is actually believed to exert its effects.
So we're looking at the mechanisms based on the research into its compounds.
That's the plan. Digging into the proposed science.
Okay, sounds good. So just to level set for anyone maybe less familiar, what exactly is Tahitian Noni MAX?
Okay, so at its core, it's a liquid dietary supplement. It comes from the noni fruit.
Morinda citrifolia, right.
That's the one. And this specific product uses fruit grown in French Polynesia. There's this idea that the soil there, being particularly rich in minerals, might contribute to a more potent fruit.
Interesting. So the source matters. And noni itself, it has a history, traditional use.
Oh, absolutely. For generations, Polynesian cultures have used the noni fruit traditionally for, well, a whole range of health purposes.
Okay.
Now, Tahitian Noni MAX specifically uses a proprietary process, extraction and fermentation.
And why is that important?
Well, the claim is that this process is designed to sort of maximize the preservation and maybe even the bioavailability of the beneficial compounds in the fruit, making them easier for your body to use.
Gotcha. So a specific method, how does that make it stand out from, say, other noni juices you might find?
I think the big emphasis based on the information available is on purity.
Purity?
Yeah. They really highlight what's not in it, like added sugars or artificial ingredients.
Yeah.
You sometimes see those in other noni drinks. So the goal seems to be delivering the natural stuff from the noni fruit, concentrated in a form your body can readily access.
Okay, pure, specific process. Makes sense. Let's get into the science then. How's it supposed to work? Antioxidants are always a huge topic. How does Tahitian Noni MAX fit in there?
Definitely a central piece of the puzzle. We hear a lot about free radicals, oxidative stress.
Yeah, those unstable molecules causing trouble inside us.
Exactly. They damage cells. And that damage, oxidative stress, is linked to, well, a lot of chronic health problems.
Okay.
So what's interesting with Tahitian Noni MAX is the research suggesting it's rich in antioxidants. Specific ones like scopolamine and quercetin pop up in the studies.
But what do those antioxidants actually do at the cellular level?
The current thinking is they basically neutralize those damaging free radicals. They stop them in their tracks.
Like a cleanup crew.
Sort of, yeah. And some studies suggest that drinking noni juice might actually increase the body's overall antioxidant capacity, its ability to fight off this damage. So the idea is, by reducing this cellular wear and tear, Tahitian Noni MAX could potentially help lower inflammation and maybe the risk of those chronic diseases.
Okay, like a protective shield for our cells? That makes sense. What's another major area? Immune support comes up a lot too.
It does. Supporting the immune system is definitely another focus. One way it's thought to work is through its vitamin C content.
Ah, okay. Vitamin C, we know that one. Good for white blood cells, antibodies.
Right, the body's first responders, basically. And beyond that, the research also points to polysaccharides in noni.
Polysaccharides, complex carbs.
Yeah, and these are thought to interact directly with immune cells. They might activate them, maybe stimulate the production of cytokines.
Cytokines, those are the signaling molecules, right? Telling the immune system what to do.
Exactly. They help coordinate the whole response. And some research actually indicates that noni juice intake might correlate with higher white blood cell counts.
Suggesting a stronger immune response, potentially?
That's the implication, yeah. So multiple angles on immunity.
Interesting. Okay, let's switch gears to energy. Lots of products promise energy. How does the science explain Tahitian Noni MAX's role here? Is it just sugar or caffeine?
Well, that's the thing. The claim is that it supports energy levels without relying on stimulants like caffeine or loads of sugar, the kind that lead to that inevitable crash later.
Right, the roller coaster nobody wants.
Exactly. So the proposed mechanism ties back to those antioxidants again.
Oh, okay. How so?
By protecting the mitochondria, the little power plants inside our cells that make energy.
Yeah, ATP production.
Right. By shielding those mitochondria from oxidative damage, Tahitian Noni MAX might help them keep producing ATP more efficiently and sustainably.
So it's less about adding fuel and more about keeping the engines running smoothly.
That's a good way to put it. Plus, the research also mentions B vitamins being present, like B3 niacin, B9 folate.
Ah, and those are crucial for converting food into energy anyway.
Correct. They're essential cofactors in those metabolic processes.
Okay, so a more fundamental approach to energy. Got it. What about inflammation? That seems connected to almost everything these days.
It really does. Chronic inflammation is increasingly seen as a key underlying factor in so many health issues.
Yeah.
And the research suggests that compounds in noni, particularly things called iridoids, and also those antioxidants we keep mentioning, have shown anti-inflammatory effects in studies.
So the antioxidant activity might be playing a role there too, reducing inflammation.
It's very likely connected, yes. And this potential anti-inflammatory action, it could be particularly relevant for people dealing with conditions often linked to inflammation, like, say, joint discomfort or stiffness.
That makes sense. Now, I also saw some mentions of potential benefits for athletes, athletic performance. How does that work scientifically?
Right. The thinking there involves certain phytonutrients in noni, like those iridoids again, and also flavonoids.
Okay.
The idea is these might help improve oxygen delivery around the body and also maybe reduce some of the inflammation that naturally happens with intense exercise.
Interesting.
Some preliminary studies even suggest noni might help with endurance and maybe even speed up recovery time after a workout.
So potentially helping both during and after exercise.
That's what some of the initial research hints at, yeah. And one more area to touch on briefly is digestive health.
Oh, yeah. Definitely important for a lot of listeners.
So the idea here is that Tahitian Noni MAX might help support a healthier gut environment, maybe by encouraging a good balance of gut bacteria.
The microbiome.
Exactly. And also potentially by reducing inflammation in the digestive tract itself. There's also mention of compounds that might help with gastric motility.
Helping things move along regularly.
Basically, yes. Helping with regularity.
Okay. So looking at the gut environment and its function. Now, this all sounds potentially beneficial, but are there any, important considerations, things people should be aware of, cautions?
Absolutely. That's crucial. While it seems to be generally safe for most people, it's always wise to be cautious.
Standard advice for any supplement, really.
Right. And talking to your doctor or healthcare provider first is really important.
Yeah.
Especially if you have any pre-existing conditions or if you're taking medications.
Any specific conditions or meds to be aware of?
Particularly things related to kidney or liver function. That's where extra caution is usually advised.
Good to know. And what about dosage? Can you take too much?
Yes. Following the recommended dose is important. The information suggests that taking excessive amounts could potentially lead to problems like hyperkalemia.
High potassium levels?
Yeah, too much potassium in the blood. And also, just due to a lack of specific research, the general advice is usually for pregnant and breastfeeding women to avoid noni juice.
Okay, very important points. Thanks for clarifying those. So if we were to sum up this deep dive into the science, what are the main takeaways, the core mechanisms we've talked about?
Well, we've looked at the antioxidant power, how it might fight cellular damage from free radicals.
Right.
We explored how it could potentially support the immune system through things like vitamin C and polysaccharides interacting with immune cells. We discussed the idea of sustained energy support, possibly by protecting mitochondria and providing B vitamins rather than just stimulants.
Okay.
And we covered the anti-inflammatory effects demonstrated in studies linked to iridoids and antioxidants.
Plus those potential links to athletic performance and digestive health.
Exactly. Those two.
So it really seems like it's not just one single magic bullet effect, but more like a network of interactions, different compounds affecting different processes in the body.
That sums it up nicely.
Yeah.
It's likely a complex interplay. And hopefully, understanding these proposed mechanisms give you, the listener, a better framework.
Yeah, to think more critically about natural health options, maybe see how they might fit into your own wellness journey.
Precisely. It might prompt you to look deeper into the research yourself or have a more informed chat with your healthcare provider.
That's a great point. Understanding the how definitely adds another layer beyond just hearing the claims. It really highlights this ongoing quest to understand these natural compounds and, how they actually work with our bodies.
It really does. The complexity is fascinating.
Thanks for walking us through the science today. Hopefully this gives everyone listening a new lens to consider things through. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other intricate mechanisms are waiting to be discovered in nature?
Thanks for tuning in to the Iridoids Wellness Podcast. Remember, small steps lead to big changes. If you're curious about the products we mentioned today, you can find them all at iridoids.com. That's AIROGYA.com. And hey, use the code IROGYA15 at checkout for a 15% off discount. Please note that the code is not applicable for Europe, some parts of the Middle East, and South Africa. Until next time, keep taking those steps towards a healthier you.